You think rich people have it figured out. They don't. 100 million in the bank, and some of them still feel broke. The psychology of wealth is broken at every level. I've spent months going through the research on this. What happens to your brain at $0? What shifts when you hit 50 grand? What breaks when you cross a million? And what completely falls apart at the billionaire level? The data is disturbing. It's counterintuitive, and it might change how you think about every financial goal you've ever set. We're starting at the bottom, survival mode. You know that feeling when you check your bank account and your stomach drops before you even see the number? That tightness in your chest when a bill notification hits your phone? That's not anxiety being dramatic. That's your brain entering a measurable cognitive state that researchers call scarcity mode. When you're struggling financially, your brain loses the equivalent of 13 IQ points, not because you're less intelligent, because your mental bandwidth is completely hijacked by survival calculations. Every single decision becomes a trade-off equation. Buy groceries or pay the electric bill, fix the car, or hope it lasts another month. The math never stops running in the background. Your body responds like you're in physical danger. Cortisol floods your system constantly. Sleep suffers. Relationships strain under the weight of money fights. Your health deteriorates from the chronic stress, and the worst part is the tunnel vision. Opportunities pass right in front of you, but you can't see them because your brain is too busy solving tomorrow's crisis to notice next year's possibility. This isn't a character flaw. This isn't poor people being bad with money. Princeton researchers documented this. Scarcity literally changes how the brain functions, narrowing your focus to immediate threats and making long-term planning nearly impossible. If you've ever been here, you know exactly what I'm describing. And if you've never experienced it, understand this. It's not laziness keeping people stuck. It's a cognitive tax that makes everything harder than it needs to be. But something shifts when you finally crawl out of that hole, when you get your first real taste of breathing room. The moment you cross from survival into stability feels like surfacing after holding your breath underwater. It's not luxury, it's oxygen. Suddenly bills become a question of when, not if. You build a small emergency fund, maybe just $1,000, but that $1,000 shifts everything, psychologically. You can absorb a flat tire without your whole month collapsing. You sleep differently, not perfectly, but differently. The constant background hum of financial panic drops to a manageable volume. Your relationships start healing because there's actually money to discuss instead of just fear to process. And for the first time in maybe years, you can think about the future. Not just next week, actual future stuff like career moves, maybe going back to school, things that felt like fantasies when you were in survival mode. But the childhood scripts are still running. Whatever you learned about money growing up, whether your parents fought about it or never discussed it or lost it all, those patterns don't automatically update when your bank account does. Something else happens at this level too. You become the one who made it out. Family starts calling, friends remember you're good with money now. The pressure of being everyone's potential safety net arrives right when you're finally building your own. Stability is fragile here. You know how fast it could disappear. So you save compulsively, sometimes irrationally. The scarcity mindset doesn't leave just because the scarcity did. Then you hit what researchers call the comfort zone, and this is where things get genuinely interesting. There's a specific income level where something remarkable happens. Daily financial stress essentially disappears. You stop checking your account before buying groceries. Small luxuries don't require mental calculations anymore, and a surprise car repair is annoying but not devastating. Princeton researchers wanted to know exactly where this happens, so they studied 450,000 Americans. They measured two things: how people evaluate their lives overall and how they actually feel day to day, the emotions, the lived experience. What they found reshaped how economists think about money and happiness. Daily emotional well-being, the stuff that actually determines whether you enjoy your life, stops improving around $75,000 a year. After that, more money doesn't make your daily experience any better. Let that land for a second. The emotional benefits of money have a ceiling, and it's way lower than most people assume. Now, life evaluation scores keep climbing with income. Rich people rate their lives as more successful. They feel like they're winning by objective measures. But their Tuesday afternoon doesn't feel any better than yours after 75 grand. Their breakfast doesn't taste different. Their commute isn't more pleasant. This creates an uncomfortable realization. If you're already past this threshold and still chasing money hoping it'll make you feel better, you're chasing the wrong thing. The goalpost was back here the whole time. So why do people keep running? The psychology gets weird from here. You've crossed the comfort threshold and life should feel meaningfully better now. You're making more than you ever expected, and on paper, everything looks great. But something's off. You keep waiting for the feeling to arrive. That deep satisfaction you assumed would come with this income level. The security you thought would finally let you relax. Instead, you feel mostly the same as you did 2 raises ago, maybe 3. The anxiety just found new targets. The stress shapeshifted but didn't shrink. This is your first real encounter with hedonic adaptation, the psychological mechanism that resets your happiness baseline after any positive change. That new salary felt amazing for about 6 weeks. Then it became normal. Then it became the floor you're terrified of falling below. You upgraded your apartment, felt incredible for a month. Now it's just where you live. You bought a nicer car, genuinely exciting until it became just your car and you started noticing what your coworker drives. The dangerous thought starts creeping in. Maybe the next level will feel different. Maybe the next promotion will be the one that makes it click. You start measuring yourself against people one rung higher, and your reference point keeps shifting upward. This is the hedonic treadmill speeding up, and you're about to learn that running faster doesn't get you anywhere new. The absurd part is you can literally watch this happen to yourself and still not escape it. You buy something nice, a watch maybe, and the excitement is genuine. You admire it constantly for 2 weeks, then it becomes just your watch. The pleasure fades so completely that you forget why you wanted it, and now you're browsing the next thing. Researchers studied lottery winners, expecting to find permanent happiness boosts. These people had life-changing money fall into their laps, financial freedom overnight. The results were almost comedic. Within months, lottery winners returned to roughly the same happiness levels they had before winning. The baseline reset completely. This isn't a personal failing, this is human neurological wiring. We adapt to positive circumstances with remarkable speed. What felt like luxury becomes normal, becomes the bare minimum you'd accept. And while you're running on this treadmill, something else is happening. Time poverty. You're earning more than ever, but you're working more than ever to earn it. Burnout culture becomes your culture. You have money for nice dinners, but no time to enjoy them, and vacation days accumulate unused. The impulse spending kicks in here too. You're exhausted, so you scroll Amazon at midnight. You're stressed, so you buy something that promises relief. Emotional spending happens at every income level, but the purchases just get more expensive as you climb. And then something darker starts happening, something you won't notice until it's already changed you. Appreciate you sticking around. If you liked what you heard, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear your take. And if you know someone who'd enjoy this, share it with them. The friendships don't end dramatically. They just slowly become impossible. Your old friends are dealing with problems you used to share, rent struggles, car troubles, the anxiety of making it to next paycheck. You remember all of it, but now when they bring it up, there's this invisible wall. You can't complain about your problems because yours sound absurd by comparison. You can't offer solutions because that feels condescending, and you can't even listen the same way because you've lost the visceral connection to that fear. Money conversations become minefields in every direction. Talk about what you spent, you're showing off. Talk about what you're worried about, you're out of touch. Stay silent, you're hiding something. Meanwhile, you're buying your way out of needing people. Services replace community. You pay for the things neighbors used to help with. You hire out the tasks friends used to trade. It's convenient, it's efficient, and it's slowly destroying the web of mutual dependence that actually creates human connection. The guilt shows up too. Survivor's guilt. You made it out and they didn't. Not because you're smarter or worked harder necessarily. Sometimes timing, sometimes luck, sometimes just the right opportunity at the right moment. But you're here now and they're not. And the gap keeps widening. You start keeping your success smaller in conversations, downplaying wins, performing financial stress you don't really feel anymore. It's exhausting in a completely new way. Then one day you realize something that should feel like victory. You're a millionaire now. You made it, but nobody warned you about what comes next. The fantasy version went like this. You'd hit 7 figures and everything would click into place. Security would become permanent, anxiety would dissolve. You'd finally relax into the life you'd been building. The reality is disorienting. You're a millionaire and you're still anxious, maybe more anxious. The fears just got bigger to match the numbers. Now you're terrified of losing what you have. Market drops feel personal. Recessions feel like personal threats. The money that was supposed to buy peace of mind somehow bought a larger surface area for worry. And there's a shame that nobody talks about. The shame of not feeling how you expected to feel. You did everything right, worked hard, saved smart, built something real. You earned this. So why does it feel hollow? Therapists see this constantly. People pulling up in luxury cars to confess that their perfect life feels empty. The phrase keeps coming up. I have everything I wanted and I don't know why I'm not happy. The fears multiply at this level. Public perception becomes an obsession. What if people find out you got lucky? What if the market exposes you? What if you make one wrong move and everyone watches you fall? Overconfidence kicks in too. You made $1 million, so clearly you know what you're doing. Risky bets start looking rational. Diversification feels boring. Some millionaires blow their wealth on exactly this kind of hubris. And if any of it came through inheritance or timing or luck, rather than pure grinding effort, the happiness dims further. Unearned wealth correlates with lower life satisfaction, even among millionaires. The story you tell yourself about deserving it matters. But the research gets genuinely disturbing from here. Something is happening to wealthy brains that's measurable, and it's not good. The researchers at Berkeley designed a simple experiment using Monopoly. They rigged the game so one player started with twice the money, collected double salary for passing go, and rolled 2 dice while the other player only rolled 1. The advantages were completely random. Both players knew the game was rigged. Everyone understood it was fake money in a fake game with fake advantages. Within minutes, the behavior changed. The advantaged players started talking louder, moving their pieces more aggressively around the board, taking more than their share of pretzels from a communal bowl. And most disturbingly, they started displaying dominant behaviors toward the other player. Little comments, subtle put-downs. The fake rich players began acting like they deserved their fake success. When asked afterward what led to their victory, the advantaged players talked about their strategy, their smart decisions. They'd already begun constructing narratives of personal merit around randomly assigned privilege. This is happening with real money too. Brain imaging studies show that wealthy individuals have measurably different responses when viewing images of suffering. The empathy regions activate less. The ability to accurately read facial expressions of emotion decreases with higher social status. Lower-class individuals consistently outperform upper-class individuals on tests of emotional intelligence. This isn't wealthy people being bad people. This is documented neuroscience. Wealth changes brain function. Security reduces the survival need to read social cues. Power reduces the necessity of caring what others think. And it happens unconsciously. Nobody decides to become less empathetic. The erosion is invisible from inside, which raises an uncomfortable question for anyone accumulating wealth. Is this happening to me? For the ultra-wealthy, the psychological landscape gets stranger still. You'd think $50 million would cure any lingering sense of scarcity. That's generational money, never work again money. Your grandchildren are set money. The research says otherwise. Scarcity mindset persists at $100 million. People who grew up with financial instability, who experience the terror of not having enough during formative years, carry that programming regardless of current net worth. The fear becomes decoupled from reality. The number in the account has nothing to do with whether the person feels secure. Loss aversion becomes something closer to identity crisis. When your net worth is your scorecard, when money becomes the measure of who you are, a market drop doesn't feel like a financial event. It feels like you're shrinking, your actual self becoming less. A $10 million loss on paper produces psychological pain completely disconnected from any real world impact on your life. The social isolation completes itself at this level. You can't trust anyone's motives. Is this person interested in you or your money? Does this friend actually like you or like what you represent? Even family relationships become suspicious and you can't discuss your problems with anyone. How do you complain about the stress of managing wealth to someone worried about rent? How do you explain the loneliness of extreme success to someone who dreams of achieving it? The wealthier you get, the smaller the group of people who could possibly understand, and most of them are too isolated themselves to connect with. The money becomes abstract. Beyond a certain point, it's not about what you can buy. It's just a number that determines whether you're winning or losing a game. Nobody else knows you're playing. At the very top, the billionaire level, something even more disturbing emerges. A prison made of gold. At the absolute summit of wealth, fear doesn't disappear, it transforms. The dominant emotion reported by the ultra-wealthy isn't satisfaction or gratitude, it's the fear of irrelevance, terror of becoming invisible, anxiety about being forgotten or surpassed. The money becomes almost meaningless as a measure of success because everyone at this level has it. What matters now is impact, legacy, whether you'll be remembered. And the research on extreme wealth is grim. Depression rates are higher, relationship destruction is nearly universal, and children become a source of constant worry because inherited wealth reliably ruins them. Trust becomes impossible because the motives of everyone around you are permanently suspect. You're trapped by your success. Can't go back, can't connect, can't complain, can't trust, can't find peers who understand, can't find problems that money solves anymore. The only problems left are the ones money makes worse. This is why billionaire philanthropy exists at the scale it does. Not purely generosity, but desperate meaning-seeking. When you can buy anything, acquisition stops providing satisfaction. The only remaining source of purpose is problems worth solving, impact that outlives you, legacy that justifies the accumulation. Maslow's hierarchy doesn't have a level for extreme wealth because the highest human needs can't be purchased. Love, true self-esteem, self-actualization, purpose, connection, the things that make life feel meaningful exist outside the market entirely. So what actually works? What do the happiest wealthy people know that the miserable ones don't? The feeling of being wealthy has almost nothing to do with wealth. Researchers studying the happiest millionaires found something consistent across all of them. They decoupled their sense of security from their net worth. Their identity wasn't built on the number. They measured their success against their own past rather than someone else's present. And they'd stopped treating money as a scorecard and started treating it as a tool. Abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. This isn't woo-woo manifestation nonsense. This is documented psychological orientation that determines whether you feel rich or poor, regardless of what's in your account. Some people feel abundant at 50,000. Some people feel scarce at 50 million. The mindset was often set in childhood and never updated. The 75,000 finding reframed. After your basic needs are met, everything else is internal work. More money won't generate more happiness. Only purpose will. Only connection will. Only the sense that your life means something beyond accumulation. The happiest wealthy people figured out that money provides freedom, but freedom without direction is just expensive drifting. They found causes, projects, missions that mattered independent of income. The money enabled the purpose, but it never became the purpose, and they gave themselves permission to define enough, a real number, a genuine boundary. Not always more, not relative to anyone else, just enough for this particular life I want to live. Financial coaches are learning this now. The emotional architecture matters more than the spreadsheet. Mindset work isn't optional. The relationship with money, forged in childhood, shaped by experience, encoded in neural pathways, determines everything about how wealth feels regardless of how it measures. The wealthiest feeling isn't about what you have. It's about knowing that what you have and who you are is enough.